Lawsuit bankruptcy. When you're sued, your first reaction is probably panic. You knew that the creditor could sue you. You knew that your debt was unpaid. You were hoping it would go away, but here's the lawsuit and now you have to deal with it. The first thing that you'll notice when you get a lawsuit in Cincinnati or Dayton, Ohio is that you have 28 days to file what's called an answer. What's an answer? It's not calling up the court or the creditor. The answer is a written response to the lawsuit filed against you, which is called a complaint. You do not need to file an answer at all, actually. If you don't file an answer, then judgment will be taken against you. Essentially, you're admitting that you owe the money. After 28 days, the creditor will ask the court to make a ruling that you owe the money. This is called a judgment, and with a judgment, the creditor can collect by force. What can you do to stop the lawsuit? That depends on your individual facts and circumstances. I've been practicing bankruptcy law and stopping lawsuits in the Dayton and Cincinnati, Ohio area for more than 28 years. Sometimes we file bankruptcy to stop the lawsuit. Sometimes we fight the lawsuit and win. Sometimes we ask for more time to pay. It all depends on what you need. For example, what if you don't recognize the creditor? Oftentimes creditors sell your debt to other companies who you do not recognize. It's not uncommon for people to come to me with a lawsuit from a creditor they don't recognize and wonder what to do. Often, with some investigation, we can determine who is the original creditor, and then my clients tell me that they recognize the creditor and they actually owe the debt. It's a legitimate debt. But occasionally, creditors will sue the wrong person. I've had numerous situations where people have come to me initially thinking they were going to have to file bankruptcy to stop the lawsuit, when in fact what we ended up doing was fighting the lawsuit and winning. Sometimes creditors file lawsuits and people consider filing bankruptcy to stop the lawsuit, but it turns out that we can actually fight the lawsuit and win because creditors who buy debts from other companies sometimes don't get anything more than an email from the original creditor. In other words, they don't have any of the underlying documents. They don't have a contract. They don't have the payment record. All they bought was an email saying that somebody owes them money and it's unpaid. Without the proof, however, the creditor should lose in court. Again, this is a situation where you don't need to file bankruptcy. More often than not, however, the situation is that you know that you owe the debt and it's unpaid. You either can't pay it or you can't pay it in full. Therefore, you need to know all of your options. Typically, the options that people consider when they're being sued is to do nothing and wait to see what happens. This is pretty risky because creditors frequently do follow up the lawsuit with collection. They can garnish your wages, garnish your bank account, and put liens on your real estate if you own any. In rare circumstances, they can take personal property. Sometimes the best way to deal with a lawsuit is to contact the creditor and work out a payment plan. Often it's helpful to obtain the services of an attorney to do this. Because I'm an experienced bankruptcy attorney and often stop lawsuits by filing bankruptcy, or the threat of filing bankruptcy, I've been very successful in obtaining excellent settlements with creditors because they know if they don't settle with me, I'm very likely to file a bankruptcy for my client. My reputation as a bankruptcy attorney helps me with my negotiations. Sometimes we fight the lawsuit. Depending on the strength of the creditor's case, how much proof they actually have, we may either win the lawsuit or we may settle it on favorable terms. Finally, I frequently encounter situations where my clients come to me with a lawsuit, but really this is just the tip of the iceberg. They have many other debts that they can't pay. This is just the first of what will probably be a series of lawsuits to come. When this happens, they need to look at a strategy that will fix the overall situation and not just try to put out one fire at a time. In many of these cases, my clients in Cincinnati and Dayton, Ohio end up filing bankruptcy to stop the lawsuit and to fix their overall financial circumstances.